flags fly in, and Virginia Tech turns it over on its first possession.
Welcome into the Sports Objective Podcast, 50 Pirates in 50 Days, coming to you on a Tuesday afternoon. East Carolina's had so many excellent linebackers down through the year in the Pirates program's history. And right now we're very excited, as you see there on the right side of the screen, to be joined by a guy who played in the Skip Holtz Era, 2004 to 2008, Quentin Cotton. Quentin, welcome in.
How you doing?
We appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on the program. So let's just right off the bat take us back to the early 2000s. I know you actually began your high school career at High Point Andrews before transferring to Kernersville Glen on the east side of Winston-Salem. So just talk about your high school career in a nutshell and your recruitment and how you wound up at East Carolina.
Man, it's just it was one of the strangest things, man. I played freshman football when I got to high school, and then my sophomore year I didn't play at all. And people might not believe me when I tell them this. I was better in basketball than I was in football. Like, a whole lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that for some reason. But just to make a long story short, I kind of, got talked into playing football. So I ended up playing, my junior year, and that's when I got with Coach Payne, as we was talking about. And some things happened at the high school that I was at High Point Andrews. So what I did was I transferred to Glen. I had a chance to, I kind of messed up early on in my career and then tried to get serious about it, later on. And I had a chance to go out to Glen and just, set things straight and, get a shot at getting in college. And that's how, East Carolina got involved. And, with grandma and my mama being from Morehead City and Newport, Atlanta Beach area, I know y'all probably know a little bit about that. It was a go all-win situation for me, close to grandma. Mama can come see me play. So that's how I ended up in Greenville.
Now, you talk about not having played your sophomore year. Now, prior to high school, did you play any Pop Warner ball and that sort of thing growing up?
Nah, man. I did play Pop Warner coming up early, before high school. Then we had middle school and things like that. But it was just one of those situations, man, when my mom made me quit playing because she thought I was getting hurt too much. Don't tell nobody that. So I don't want to talk too loud, but it was one of those situations, Mama, she spoke up, and I just listened to her. It kind of, get the health of my body back. So,
say, Mom, I do the hurt, and I don't get hurt.
Right. She figured it out as I got older.
So, during those years. All right, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I got you too. So, sorry about that. Some Wi-Fi issues. I was on my laptop. I switched over to my cell phone, but we're still rolling. So now,
Okay.
What I was thinking, you were obviously just a moment ago talking about your ties to Eastern North Carolina from a family standpoint. So talk about your high school coach. You already referenced Aldine Payne, who also spent some time as a head coach at Glen later on. So just talk about that, and then your recruitment. Which East Carolina coach was recruiting you?
Really, I heard from a couple coaches, but the main one was Lonnie Galloway, the wide receivers coach on the Thompson staff, and just not only Aldine Payne, but majority of my time I spent with Aldine Payne, but as my senior year, Dave Mizell was my linebacker coach. So that was kind of Payne kind of went down the D line, so I spent a whole lot of time with Coach Mizell my senior year. So when I was at High Point Andrews, he was the head coach and was an offensive man. So he became my position coach when he was out at Glenn. So it was just one of them things, man. I had two coaches. Coach Mizell coached my brother, so it's kind of like he knew my family. You know what I mean? And through the whole recruitment process from Andrews to Glenn, it started with Coach Mizell and Coach Payne. So and then with them, it was kind of a blessing, for them to be at Glenn at the same time that I was there, to continue to handle my recruitment for me. But you got me.
So, gotcha. Lonnie Galloway, wide receivers coach at that time. So talk about coming in, and then unfortunately, the transition happened. Unfortunately, fortunately, however you look at it, but Coach Holtz was coming in, and the program was certainly very quickly on the rise. So just talk about that, and Greg Hudson, and then that entire defensive regime and that transition.
Man, from Donnie Kirkpatrick, The Rock, rest in peace, from just everybody that came across, man. Coach Rick Smith, Coach Carter, Tim Carter, just everybody, just everybody across the board. I know a lot of these guys that I'm talking about, man. It's just having them, having them in the knowledge that they transformed and gave to the players, and not only about football but life and being a man, is great. And I still keep in contact with her to this day, so it's just one of them things, like, man, it's like a national band of brothers. Like, that's one thing I can always say about the Pirates, man. Like, we stick together. So
Yeah, Coach Hud's actually coaching high school ball down in Florida now. We're talking to Harold Robinson, who's director of high school relations. We had H. Rob on the show here recently. Him, Josh Smith, and Nick Johnson, and that was quite an evening, as you can imagine, with those three.
I can
But
only imagine.
You couldn't even see him. He was sitting there in his recliner or something. All you saw was the ceiling fan the entire time. Like, what in the world?
Like, I can believe it. Like, I can believe it.
He was telling the stories and talking about what Josh, and then Coach Mike Golden, strength and conditioning coach, is actually going to be on the program tomorrow night if you get a chance to watch it live or archived. But he was talking about when Coach Golden put ducks in his office.
Oh man, oh my God, like them guys is some of the funny time. Get big shout out to Coach Golden too, man. Like, and I'm pretty sure he'll tell you I wasn't one of his strongest, but what Golden did for us, and conditioning wise and things, I wasn't always the best, but Golden, his staff, they push me, they push me, and it kind of, transform on the field. You know what I mean? It ain't just about me playing football. You know what I mean? Regardless if I was good at it or not, I still had to go in that weight room every day. You know what I mean? I still had to, you know what I mean? I still had the condition, still had to, and there was a point in time where I was having trouble with conditioning when I first got to ECU, and, I kind of outgrew that. So, but, I'm pretty sure if you ask him, he'll tell you the same things. You just got to grow up, become a man, early on in my career at ECU, man, I had a lot of things going on, a lot of stuff back home. And, it just came down to one of those points where Hud set me down and was like, look, you're going to have to make a choice, You want to be here, or you want to, I can make sure you play somewhere. You want to go to Johnson C. Smith, I make sure you want to go there. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, nah, that ain't what, that ain't what, no disrespect to Johnson C. Smith. I just, you know what I mean? Like, I want to play big time D1 football, you know what I mean? But just one of them things, man. You got to grow up and be a man. Like I said, man, we're so tight now. Like, I still talk to her to this day, man. Like, it's still a family, man, wherever you are, all over the world.
Yeah, and you talk about all those defensive coaches, Rick Smith, Rock Ruggerman, and then, of course, Coach Hudson, defense coordinator, and then also with the backers. So I know Nick Johnson, when he was on, like I mentioned a moment ago, just I guess 2-3 weeks ago now, Nick told a funny story. We'd actually won the ball game, but had not played well defensively. And
Right.
so on Sunday in the defensive meeting room, he threw y'all's cake that you got after.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that. I remember that he got so mad at the cake against the wall.
Now, whether it's elaborate maybe a little bit on that or some other funny story with Coach Hudson, whether it's on or off the field, maybe in the meeting room, is there anything you can share?
Nah, man. Like I tell you, sometimes I used to enjoy, man. I'm gonna tell you something about Coach Hudson. He's serious, but he can be a jokester, man. We used to be in the meeting room, and if somebody got cracked back or anything like that, Coach Hud to keep rewinding it. And I remember it was a play against West Virginia, and we was playing up there. This is when they beat us 44-7, and like they dogged us. So this is not a funny moment, but at the end, you will probably hear about what transpired or whatnot. But the guard came around and smacked me. I didn't see him coming. And, Hud kept rewinding it, had me mad, kept rewinding. All the fellas laughing at me in there. All the fellas laughing at me. He say, and you know what? You think that's funny? You're going to have to run out the practice because you missed breakfast this morning. And I was like, oh, my, I got to run. And then he sit here, I had missed breakfast that morning, man. It was just one of them times like the guys was laughing at me. They're like, man, I'm sorry for you. You know what I mean? He is a jokester, man. I never forget it, man. I had got smacked. He kept rewinding around. He was like, by the way, you gotta run out to practice because you missed breakfast the other day. I was like, oh God, and in the end, I tell you, man, you ask any of the fellas about them up downs. I clear we did like 200 up downs after that game. I know you done heard the story, man. It was one of the worst days. Like, it made a man out of me, but one of the worst days of my life, man.
I actually had not heard specifically, but that does not surprise me. Like you're saying, considering we got beat 48-7, and really
Right.
it was a situation where West Virginia probably could have scored more. But Pat White and that Russian attack, they were clicking on all cylinders that day. And I can only imagine, like you're saying, I had heard the story of the get right drill, and I know that was a more frequent thing. So, what are your memories of the get right drill?
I'm gonna put it to you like this, and you can't tell anybody about it. You can just tell them, the overall moral of what get right is. You better get it right, or you're gonna get right, and that's all I can say about that. If you can't comprehend that, something's wrong.
Right.
But that drill will make you comprehend it. You either get it right, or you're gonna get right.
Right.
And we're gonna leave it at that.
So early on in your career, in 2005, I know you got to play in a couple of ball games. Just talk about some of those guys in the linebacker room at that point. You've already referenced how you were dealing with some stuff at home, but just talk about getting on that field for the first time in 2005, and then kind of progressing into that sophomore season in 2006, the second year under Coach Holtz.
I had some guys in front of me. When I first got there, some guys you probably had on your show before, Richard Kuntz, Chris Moore, Cheese, Josh Chisholm, you know what I mean? Deshaun Stevens, shout out to all those guys. I learned a lot from them, you know what I mean? Just coming up, learning the ropes, just teaching me what to look at, and I don't know if, a lot of people know who Chris Moore is, but, Chris played with a reckless abandonment about him, and it just seeing him being able to see that, man, it just made me like, man, when I get out there, that's how I want to do it. You know what I mean? The Kunzi, just being that setting that edge at the strong side linebacker, just I want to get out there and do that, or Cheese or Day or Deshaun Stevenson coming from the backside off the pulling guard or the trap or however you want to do it. Just watching them guys do things and getting older and getting experience, And also, you got the guys in the back end to help you, Jamar, Chase, Casey Ross, a lot of I can go down the line, man. Ero Jean, like I can go down the line. You know what I mean? It's a lot of guys, that talk, and you learn a lot from them, coming up.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess you referenced Richard Kuntz. We did have Richard on. He was one of the first couple of interviews that we did with this feature, 50 Pirates in 50 Days. And you mentioned the name Chris Moore as well. Richard and I were talking about just how underrated Chris Moore was from the standpoint of during the years that he played. Unfortunately, we didn't win a ton of ball games like we have in other eras, but Chris Moore can certainly hold his own with any of the linebackers that have played at East Carolina. He's certainly one of the best.
Yes, Chris Moore, man. I like, you know, I've seen it good and bad with Chris, man, because Chris was so one of them players that he reacts so fast and sometimes he overrun a play. I didn't say he did anything wrong. He just reacts so fast that he can overrun a play. That's how quick and he can put it together mentally just to be like, as soon as the ball snap, boom, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you ever watch me play, like I dissect everything that's going around me. I got to know what the linebackers is doing. I got to know what the D lineman is doing. I got to know what the corners are doing. And that's the thing that Hud preached, with Coach Holtz staff that I think, I really didn't get to work with Coach Thompson's staff like that. But I think, knowing every position around you and what they're doing will go a long way in what you're doing on that football field.
Definitely. And in 2006, in your sophomore year, you became a regular contributor, and I think you were second on the team that year in tackle, something like that, and really made a name for yourself. Pirates winning 7 ball games and getting back to a bowl for the first time since 2001. What are your memories of that 2006 season? Because when I think of there's several different games that come to mind, but one of the games that Kyle and I, one of my co-hosts who is unfortunately still at work because he would have loved to have taken part in this conversation, but Kyle always talked about that NC State game in the season finale, regular season finale. Just what a hard-hitting football game that was that night in Raleigh.
Yeah, man. That was one of the hardest games, hard-hitting games I've ever played in. That's the year I think they had Andre Brown and Ant Hill, a lot of them guys that made it to the league that year, man. It was just a real physical, nasty. I think it rained before that game too. It was real wet out there. It did drizzle a little bit.
It was cold and wet, like you're saying. On the defensive, I think that they had Tank Tyler, who was very highly regarded. Yeah,
right. They had some good guys, man. When I tell you, they were giving us hits, but we were giving them right back, man. It's just one of them things. And I think Amato had got fired right after that game, so them guys were kind of. They were kind of playing with a chip on their shoulder. They knew something was about to happen. They didn't know it was going to happen right after the game. But man, them guys. Shout out to NC State. Them guys recruited me. Coach Amato recruited me and whatnot. But at the same time, man, it's a business, so you got to win. But I think he had lost. They had lost to us. It was one of them crazy games, man. Like just a crazy game. The atmosphere was loud. With outfits doing their thing, and it was just, one of them hard-hitting tight games.
I remember all the NC State fans around my family and I, and they were just kind of shaking their heads, and they were talking about they were so ready for Coach Amato to be fired, and they wanted to hire Coach Holt.
Right. Nah, man, Holt's not going nowhere, man. I wish he could have stayed in Greenville, man. Like, a whole lot of things, in Greenville that's going on, man, I don't agree with. But, I'm forever a Pirate, and I'm just going to sit back and, voice my opinion. But it's about all we can do, you know what I mean? It's up to the big brass to make things happen. So,
yeah, definitely some questionable moves have been made over the last several years for sure. I think right now that we're on the way back up. It's going to take a while, but we're definitely trending in the right direction under Coach Houston and staff, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a few minutes. Your thoughts on that with Coach Mike Houston and the Pirate program in the future. But moving back to your career, that 2006 season, like I said, 7 wins, the first time we had been to a bowl in 5 years. So just what are your memories of that from the standpoint, not only that NC State game, but just give us a glimpse behind the scenes, and just did you see that coming? Because in your freshman season in '05, we had been knocking on the door of a bowl game, finishing 5-6.
I mean, like I said, man, a lot of the guys that came through with me, Pierre Bell, a lot of guys that we played in the Shrine Bowl together, Davon Drew. So, deep down, I knew we had the talent to be good. You know what I mean? I just at the point in time, with the props and everything and going on in Greenville and like with how school is going. So you just don't know until you get your whole team together, man. And I knew we were going to be good. You should, man. Listen, if you talk to Coach Shank, ask him how bad. I gave him so many problems when I was on scout team. You see what I'm saying? We knew what type of squad, what players we had. We just had to gel it all together. And as you seen our senior year, it all came together and it showed.
Yeah, it definitely did. And we'll talk about that '08 season, the tremendous start, and then we battled a ton of injuries. Extremely injury riddled that year, unfortunately, including yourself. And then we bounced back and still persevered and won that Conference USA title in 2008. But in 2007, your junior year, tremendous year that year. Unfortunately, much like 2006, when we had that shortcoming down at Rice. Same thing happened in '07 at Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
But then to y'all's credit, we bounced back and took care of business. Winning I think we won the regular season finale against Tulane, if I'm not mistaken. I think that,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously the bowl game where we won the first of 3 consecutive games against ranked opponents, taking down Boise State out in Hawaii.
Right. That was a fun time, man. I don't know if you ever been out to Hawaii, man, but like I said, it was a great experience, man. Just camaraderie, brotherhood, man. Just being able to, that was a long flight too. So, just being able to be around your people, man. And like I said, man, I love the Pirates, man. It's the togetherness, man, is a something that, I know it's a lot of college teams out there, but I just feel like Greenville and the city, the community, and Pirate Nation is one of the strongest, fan base, fan following there is on earth, man.
Yeah, that was something I know. I'd seen different comments that you made talking about the pride that Pirate fans have and the loyalty to the East Carolina football program and just the university and region as a whole. So talk about that and just your thoughts on Pirate Nation.
Man, everywhere you go, man, everybody bleed purple, man. You right, even up here where we at, and High Point, Greensboro, the Triad area, man. It's Pirates everywhere, man. I can't tell you how many times I go out in public, somebody will be like, "Hey, there you go. Oh, hey, how you doing?" You know what I mean? Like, I don't know people be recognizing who I am, but they do, man. It's like Pirates are everywhere, man.
Yeah,
everywhere.
That's funny for sure. I can imagine how much you guys get that. Pirate players in this part of the state, or wherever. And it's one of those things you certainly appreciate it, but at the same time you're like, am I supposed to know you? Or hey, you're wearing purple and gold, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man. That's all that matters, man.
And so being a North Carolina kid, and we've talked about playing against NC State and beating them in 2006. Talk about that '07 game against the Tar Heels. They were coming in with Butch Davis. I guess his first season at the helm, and we had played Virginia Tech pretty well the first game of the season. So, what are your memories of that victory over the Tar Heels that night in Dowdy Ficklen?
All right, one tackle, the field goal. It's the only tackle I had that game. And the reason why, as we was talking about it earlier, is because of the VTech game. I had, had a good game the game before, and man, Carolina did not run my way all night long. They were running away from it. If they did come, they were bringing the cavalry when they were coming at me. You know what I mean? They were gonna make sure I wasn't gonna be able to, do what I did against Virginia Tech, and I kind of, like I said, credit to my teammates, man. I wouldn't have been able to done it without them. If the D lineman wouldn't have been able to took on that block, I wouldn't have been able to got through the line. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to make somebody fumble if they didn't get, hold up the offensive line so the linebackers can flow from sideline to sideline. But that memory from the Tar Heel game, man, on the field goal at the end of the game, and what Patton did was so special, man. I never forget it, man. Like, I was mad the whole game. I was like, they will not run my way. They will not run my way. You know, credit to how, you know, like I said, the game I had before, and they just, you know, they tried to fake field goal, man, and you know Hud, he's that stickler. That's one thing he be in practice on field goal is taking it serious. You know what I mean? Don't let us take field goal serious. You'll see us doing get right long time, get right for a long time. Like I said, you get it right, or you gonna get right. That's a
Right.
testament. Everything flows back. You know what Hood and them tried to install in us. Either you get in life, either you get it right, or you're gonna get right.
Yeah, it was funny that game. I guess at the time I was actually coaching at Ledford High School, even though I'm a North Davidson guy. That was the first place I worked out of college, and I was coaching at Ledford. Like I said, my former high school football coach was the principal at Ledford, and we had played down at North Rowan that Friday night, and he was talking to me on the field after the game. He, of course, was well aware of my passion for the Pirates, and so he knew what was taking place on Saturday night because he kind of pulled for the Tar Heels. So he's like, Tar Heels are going to win on the last play on Saturday night. He said, mark it down. So I just kind of smiled, and I said, okay, we'll see. And when Connor Barth lined up for that 50-yard field goal or whatever it was, I said, are you kidding me? I said, we got to find a way to win this game. I said, we cannot lose on a last-second field goal and let him predict it exactly. And so fortunately, you guys made it happen, and then Ben came on and put it through there. So, yeah, when I think of that game, I think of Patrick Pinckney and just his second ball game, you know, throwing for 400-plus yards, and also that 80-yard screen pass that Chris Johnson had early on, and just leaving Tar Heels in his dust.
Yeah. I was over on the sideline like this is unreal. To this day, I still don't believe CJ done half the stuff he did when he was in college, man.
Yeah.
To this day, I still don't believe it.
Talk about when you guys would go good on good in practice and going against CJ and Dwayne Harris and what it was like.
Let me tell you something. Have you ever, like, I shouldn't be putting this out there, but it's been times that CJ broke in practice, like broke out running, and we just stopped running. Well, you know, and look, and by the time we turn around, there go Hood with his hands on his hip. Get him chopping. Y'all ain't running to the football. Like, that's what I'm telling you, man. Like, that's that Hood, man. I'm telling you, man. He was hard on his man, but we needed it. You know, being from the small town of High Point, man. I don't know if you know what's going on in the city these days, man. Like, all the violence, man, where we come from, man, it's crazy around here, man. So I just try to, you know, stay out the way, man, and just try to, you know, reach one, teach one. You know, if I can help you get away from here, that's what it's about. You know what I mean? And that's what, you know, my coaches, Rock, Hood, you know, even the coach Vern, everybody. You know what I mean? Even Donnie Kirkpatrick, he gave me hell every day too. So you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just you know,
Coach K is certainly he could be a stand-up comic. I think just watching his press conferences or listening to his interviews on Pirate Radio and other stations, he's hilarious.
Oh my God, man! I got to coach station. I got to tell this story. Okay, we're in practice, right? Pat throws a perfect ball to TJ. No, it was another TJ. It was the Alex. TJ was acting it out, but it was the Alex. Okay, so the ball hits Alex in the numbers. He drops. You know, and Coach K yells out. He had everybody in practice laughing. He's like, Alex, if the ball was a spear, you'll be dead. Son, hit you straight in his chest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that joke was so funny. Like, that was a spear, it would have hit you straight in the chest.
Oh,
You'd be gone. You would have, you know what I mean? Like, man, I'm telling you, I missed them times, man. I missed them times. That was a spear, you'll be dead. That ball hit Alex right dead in the nose. It fell on the ground, man. That joke was crazy, man.
Hey, Alex Taylor made the play when it counted in the corner of the end zone on that fade right. West Virginia in 2008. Went up and got it.
He made up for it. You're right about that. He made up. You can say whatever you want to say about AT, but AT, when it came down to it, man, he showed up to it, man.
And in 2007, we've already referenced that Hawaii Bowl against Boise State. And those guys were coming off that upset of Adrian Peterson in Oklahoma in 2006 in the Fiesta Bowl. And we've already had several of your teammates on the show, Nick Johnson, Jay Sunhalter, and several others. But those guys were just talking about that week during the bowl festivities. We know we weren't getting any respect nationally. Something like 99% of the fans across the nation picked Boise State to win. So talk about the Boise State team themselves. Jay and Nick and et cetera, they said that they really felt a sense of disrespect, like Boise State wasn't taking you guys seriously.
To be honest, no disrespect to Boise. I felt like Boise was one of the softest teams I ever played against in my college. If you understand what I mean, it's soft. I don't know. They weren't coming off against the ball. Like the reason the game was so close, we were shooting ourselves in the foot. Fumbles, dropping passes, out. You know what I mean? Return kick, stuff that we could control. You know what I mean? As you know, we got up big early in that game. We should have blew them out, man. And the way that score reflected how soft they were in the beginning of the game. Now, with you being soft, that don't mean you're not smart. And I get a lot of credit to Coach Peterson because he coached them back to getting close to coming back in that game. He's a thinker. Coach Peterson is a thinker, man. He's a good coach, man. I got a lot of respect for him after all the trash talking and stuff like that. And the disrespect of East Carolina, who is that, Hood, Coach Holtz put that stuff up on the the glass board and let us see it, man. And it just rubbed us the wrong way. And we came out and, we kind of took it to them and we kind of let off the foot on them because we got up big. And, that's a mistake that you learn. Once you get your foot on somebody's neck, you keep it on there until the game's over. So just, we came out on top, man, but it's one of the best times. I actually got sick when I got to Hawaii because of the weather change.
Okay.
So I actually missed a day or two of practice, but other than that, man, I had a great time though.
And very quickly, I'm moving away from football for just a moment. You talk about being able to take that trip to Hawaii, just a trip of a lifetime.
Right.
I've never been, certainly a bucket list thing. But what were some of the things that you guys got to do, whether it was Pearl Harbor or other things?
Oh, man,
what were some of your favorite experiences?
Man, Pearl Harbor, man, I never thought Pearl Harbor could make so many people cry. Yeah, we hear about it online, but, man, it was just one of them things, man. It just really hurt, like, when they're telling you about it while you watching, and they say, this is where these people died, and they died in the ship underneath the water, and they're still down there. You like looking like all these people, they still down there. They died for our country, man. It's just one of them sad sights, man. But like I said, the USA is like, we're one big country and we're strong and we're together. So, you actually feel that pain when you go out to Pearl Harbor and, figure out these people died for, my freedom,
Yeah, most definitely. So my granddad was in the Navy and was in World War II. So definitely a tremendous amount of respect for all those who fought, and then obviously even more so for those who tragically lost their lives. But wanting to move on and talk about the 2008 season. One of our viewers, a loyal viewer, another Bubba Grant, William Grant, the brother of actress Beth Grant. He's chiming in here on Facebook saying, tell us about the injury that you suffered in 2008 against Tulane. Was it a cheap shot? Boy, how we wish you were in the lineup that following week against NC State.
Yeah, man, I was in the stands for that game, man. I wanted a piece of Russell so bad, man. But it really wasn't a cheap shot. I remember the play. It was an ISO. We actually stopped him on the goal line. It was just one of them plays where Pierre Bell, was an ISO supposed to hit the middle linebacker, and he kind of swammed him, and the guy started falling, like he's tripping, and I'm on the backside guard getting ready to shed him, and he falls into my leg, and it just, tore the top of my tibia off. I tore everything, hamstring, tore the top of my tibia off, everything. Got a metal rod, you know what I mean? Like everything. Like it wasn't a cheap shot, man. It was just one of them plays where I was coming over doing my job, and the fullback, he didn't have no feet, man. Like, and I'm pretty sure that Mr. Grant, like, you feel how my mama feels. She didn't feel like it was an accident. But me, I'm a little bit more gracious, man. God probably had other plans for me. Maybe God didn't want me to make it to the NFL. I have an autistic daughter at home, and I love her to death, man. She's my world, man.
Right, like you're saying, you had played the game enough to know it's understandable how your mom would have felt that way for sure, because she was far from by herself. But you had played the game enough to know whether it was intentional or not. And from what I saw, I agreed with you for sure. And but kind of moving back to the first couple of games of that season, like I said, we're coming off the Boise State victory going into '08. So much momentum. Earlier, you talked about wanting to play big time football. It didn't get much bigger than this. Playing the Hokies at Bank of America Stadium in front of about 70,000 people, give or take. And that day, we really controlled that football game and did some things to shoot ourselves in the foot. But fortunately, you guys made some plays when necessary. TJ Lee stepped up and blocked the punt, scooped and scored, and the rest is history. So what are your memories of that season opener in 2008?
Oh, man, from the pick to just, man, running out the locker room, man, it was loud. It was loud, man. Just, from the pick to, running out the locker room, the pick, and, of course, that punt and, the mistakes. Like you said, we had some mistakes, both sides of the ball, special teams as well. Just the mistakes and the things that happened in that game that what we had to overcome. But like I said, man, that brought that piratehood, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, like it's nothing like it, man. And that's what you see in those close games, man. We stick together, blood, sweat, and tears, man.
And in that ball game, they're actually on the Hokies' first drive. They had a nice kickoff return, and they went right down the field. But you guys came up big in the red zone. You had a pick of Sean Glennon, and then you actually almost had a second pick on the game's final drive after we had taken the lead. That fortunately, we still put it on ice anyway. But you nearly had that second interception. So what are your memories of those two plays?
Man, just the second one, man. The first one bounced off somebody's helmet, and I caught it, and I remember Van coming to me when I'm getting on the sideline. Why you ain't pitch the ball back? You slow. I'll never forget that. And if you go back to the film, you'll see Van behind me with his hands out like this when I'm getting tackled, like throw me the ball, man. Like, and then that, like I said, man, that second pick, man. I tell you, I got two left feet, man. That should have been 6, man. I could have had one, man. That should have been to the house.
Yeah, you mentioned Van Eskridge, and Van certainly had some huge interceptions in his career with the Pirates, and he's a kid out of Shelby, so I'm sure he had a nice family following there that day.
Oh yeah, Mr. Friendly Fire. If you ever ask anybody why they call Van Friendly Fire, you better move out his way when he come into that pile, cause that boy don't care who there. He gonna hit you in your back. Whoever said he'd hit the referee if he could.
Yeah, definitely. I remember my first memory of Van Eskridge was, I guess, that 2006 season up at Navy in the season opener. Remember when at that time, that was before he was playing safety. He was playing outside backer, I believe. And he came up on the option and swatted the ball when the quarterback hit it, and nearly just stumbled. So you can give him crap about that one. He should have kept his feet and scored.
Yeah, I think I will one of these days. Might talk to him about that because he sure do give me hell about the one when I got caught. And if you look at the tape, man, it was so slow motion. I was embarrassed, man. I looked like I had a bunch of cheeseburgers in my shoulder pads or something, man. Like I was moving slow.
Oh yeah, that one really sticks out because our seats at that game were pretty low on that end of the field and happened right in front of me. So your interception and then also Nick Johnson's interception right there at the end of the first half that set up our first touchdown.
We're in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah. And I think that was off the air, so we'll give Nick a little love here and talk about how Coach Hud got on to him for getting tackled at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, man. Hey, Nick got an in-house nickname. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you because he been gone. We've been out of school for a little while now, so I don't know if we call Nick the Blazing Caucasian. You hear me? The Blazing Caucasian. You know what I mean? Like Nick, we get on Nick all the time. Nick very smart, man, instinctive player, man. But when it came to us, hey, I'm slow. I tell anybody I'm slow, but we smart though. We smart. That outrides the speed thing is being smart. Your instinct. So.
Now I remember you talking about calling Nick the Blazing Caucasian. I just remember when he would take that helmet off, that head of hair he had,
His hair coming out.
and him shaking his head out.
Yeah, that's Nick. That's Nick.
Oh.
I mean, Hud used to get on him about cutting it all the time, man. So, he'll be in the meeting like this. Like, why don't you cut your hair? He was like, I like it, coach.
So coming off that win over number 17 Virginia Tech on the very next week, you had Pat White and the Mountaineers coming to town. Like you referenced earlier, we've been beat by 41 points up there the previous year.
Right.
So they had a coaching change with Rich Rodriguez moving on, Bill Stewart taking over. What are your memories of that day? Because that's just thinking back to all the East Carolina football I've seen through the years.
Right.
Beating number 8, 24-3 the way we did in such a dominant defensive effort. I think that's one of the most well-rounded performances I've ever seen the Pirates play.
Well, Bubba, if you do 180-something up downs the year before that, because of what they did to you, you understand the get back we had to get back. You know what I mean? Like we had to, man. My arm still hurt thinking to this day about them up downs Hud was making us do. Like, God, I remember I was walking around buff. I was feeling big too after we had. Man, it was crazy, man. Hud it was just one of them games, the year before they beat us 48-7. Like we said, we came out, man, and we game plan. Man, your foxhole, everybody do their job, and like that's why I say, man, I'm so loyal and grateful for Coach, Holtz staff, everybody he's ever brought in up under him from Hud on down, man. Like they taught us a lot. Man, your foxhole. If you're in the Army and you get out of your foxhole, what happens? You get blown up.
Yeah.
You get blown up. You get where I'm going. So if you stay in your foxhole, great analogy, right? You stay in your foxhole, you'll be okay. You got a chance of living. You know what I mean? You get outside that foxhole, I can't help you,
And you can guys that we've had on, whether it's Nick or other guys from that era, Casey Ross. I mean, obviously a little bit before that, finished up in 2006, I guess. But and so many guys from that era reference that expression, and I mean, it was more than just an expression. It's something you guys obviously just believed in, and you hear Coach Smith to this day when he's on Pirate Radio or other interviews. Coach Smith is always saying that as well, talking about the foxhole.
Foxhole, where you stay in that foxhole, boy. I truly believe it, man. I'm gonna get into coaching one day, man. Once I get my daughter. Right now, like I told you, she's a artist. She's on the spectrum, so I spend a lot of time with her when I'm not at work. So I'm gonna get into coaching one day, man. I'm gonna teach some guys that, man, that foxhole mentality, man. I think that's where high school kids are getting away from it now, man. It's all about the looks and how much spat tape they got on their cleats and stuff like that, man. I played for Greg Hudson. We gonna go old school, no spat. Your leg braces better be on. Everything better be right. You better have on the right socks. Like, Hud did not play that. From socks, he didn't want no wristbands on, none of that. Like, that's what this game has came to. It's getting sick, man. It's sick just to look at it.
I apologize. I had a little bit of a lag there, but you mentioned old school with Coach Hud. I read in your bio, I didn't realize this until I was preparing for this interview. I heard that you were wearing number 50, or read that you were wearing number 50 because of your love of Mike Singletary, who's most certainly old school. So talk about that a little bit, Mike Singletary.
Oh, Mike Singletary, man, he hits in your mouth, and that's kind of what I want to be known for. One of them guys, I gotta tell you, man, I had some trouble when I first got to ECU, some conditioning trouble, man. And I tell anybody, I'm not afraid to, tell you the truth about my past. You know what I mean? But when them game lights came on, it came to step on that field, it was time to play. And that's what I seen in Mike Singletary. If you ever watch Michael Singletary play, he hit you in your mouth and he'll stand over you and tell you, "I'm coming back to get you again."
Right.
He was just one of those players, man. The tenaciousness. You know what I mean? Just the nastiness, like. We can go on and on about Mike Singletary. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be one of the players, man.
When I think of Mike Singletary, in addition to obviously everything he did with the Chicago Bears, I think of when he was the head coach with the 49ers. And was it Vernon Davis? Maybe Vernon was celebrating a little bit or something, and did some stuff that, needless to say, Coach Singletary didn't agree with. What didn't mesh with old school, and he sent him to the locker room.
Right. I remember that. Hey, you don't. I'm telling you, man, that old school, man. That's if we get back to that. If football got back to the old school roots, well, like tell me right now, football got back to the old school roots. And no, I'm not saying we can sit here and run ISO 50 times like they used to do back in the day. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. You can spread. It's different ways to move the ball, but if we get back to the basics. 65, 66 counter trap, 33, 34, the plays, man. It's the same everywhere, man. Georgia all curls, state quick slants. It's all the same, man. It's just different terminology, man. Like we're not doing that no more. Make it simple. And that's one thing Hud did. Hud can hold his arm out like this and call base, and we can play all game because we knew what the checks were out of base.
Right.
That's that. It ain't that simple no more. Now they got a million wristbands on with plays on them because the kids can't remember.
And that's one of the things you kind of created a nice segue for me during that final 9-10 games of the 2008 season due to you suffering that injury that we've already discussed. Right. Just talk about how maybe you had more of a leadership role, kind of being almost a student assistant coach because you obviously not being able to play. So just talk about how you contributed for the remainder of the 2008 season.
A lot of people don't know this about me, Bub, but I suffered from depression after I broke my leg, man. I kind of, was staying in the house, going to rehab. Yeah, they offered me the chance to come, and they still took me on trips. I rode with, Hud, they still took me on trips to games, you know what I mean? So it ain't like I wasn't around, but I can be there, but it was only so much I could do, you know what I mean? I couldn't move my leg like that. So, like I said, man, it's kind of hard to explain, man, because I tell you, that depression thing kind of threw me off. It's like, man, I go from a first day draft pick to I'm laying here, you know what I mean? Like that'll take a toll on somebody, man. Like, and it kind of did. I was around the team. Holidays I didn't go home. Mrs. Hood, they cooked the turkey, brought it to me to the house. Like I said, man, like it's family, man. It's the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the city of Greenville itself, man. Like if you're in need, reach out, man. Somebody will help you, man. It ain't all about being selfish or somebody with their hand out, man. It's not about that in Greenville. I can honestly say, man, everybody I ever came across in Greenville has a heart, man.
So we talked about some of your favorite memories, and I mean the obvious ones like the Boise State, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and ones like that. But what are some of your favorite memories, whether it's an individual game or things of that nature? And then also after that, I got kind of a follow-up question to more just maybe an individual player or a team, the toughest one to go against. Talk about taking on Navy and going against those cut blocks and stuff.
You can't explain the cut blocking. Like you watch it on TV, man. It's one of them things where you just gotta have your hands in front of you and like you gotta play with leverage, man. There's really no way you can. It's basically putting your best athlete on their best athlete. They're going to get theirs because that's what they do. They run it 50 million times a game. They're going to get theirs, but it's just kind of like playing assignment football, and that's how we do it. We didn't do bad against them. We didn't do bad against them at all. Game was kind of close. Like, it wasn't bad. We just kind of ran into some injuries and kind of stalled our offense. And that was about it. And as far as my favorite memory, man, I gotta say that Virginia Tech game, man. And just after the game, man, Frank Beamer came up to me and said, "Man, you one of the best to ever do this. Don't let nobody tell you not." And I said, that means a lot coming from you, coach. You know what I mean? Like, you've been in the game a long time. And I never forget it. Coach Beamer was like, "You ever need anything, you call me. I can vouch for you." You know what I mean? If they tell me if he gonna play, is he gonna play hard? I tell you, he gonna play hard. Coach Beamer is a cool guy, man. He's like, I can tell you if he's gonna play hard. I can tell you he's gonna show up. I can tell you he's gonna be there for the whole game. And you just keep your nose to the grindstone, you make a lot of money, man. I can see you making a lot of money. And Coach Beamer told me, just unfortunately I had the injury or whatnot. So
right. And yeah, as far as that Navy game, like you said, I think we lost something like 27-23, and in the offense that day even played pretty well. It was just a matter of Navy. They kept getting 3-4 yards. Y'all probably only gave up maybe 1 or 2 runs every 10 yards, and they just kept 3 yards out of dust.
Yeah, we were on the field a lot too. I can tell you, Navy game is one of the most tiring games I ever been in, because they get in that hurry up and keep running that option. And see, they don't got far to go when they get up off the ground. We got to get at least a couple yards back. When safety's got to get, you know what I mean? They got to be able to read their keys. When corners got to get outside. Like, they ran that hurry up with that option, man. We was just like, oh, man. Like, we gotta stay on top of it, because if we don't, they'll blow it out the gate on us at any time.
Right. Like you're saying, they probably converted about 10 fourth downs that day, and the offense had those minimal possessions like I was talking about. So I have confidence we're going to figure a way out to handle that triple option and beat those guys here again soon, hopefully.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Coach Houston and his staff will get it figured out, man. I like Coach Houston, man.
Yeah. So, sorry, I couldn't hear you there.
Oh, I was just I like Coach Houston. I like what he's doing, man. That's all I was going to say.
Okay. But talking about Coach Houston's had success everywhere he's been. Lenore Ryan, the Citadel, James Madison. Even though we only won 4 ball games last year, we saw improvement. We nearly beat Cincinnati and SMU toward the end of the season. So just what are your impressions a little bit more than what you just said?
Oh, man, I actually came to a game a year when they lost to A&T. I actually came to a game, man.
Scotty's last year.
Yeah, Scotty's last year. And I knew coming, what he had, the year after, and what he had, working and whatnot, and what he had coming in, man. I knew they were going to be good. It's just, like it was with us, man. It's just, you got to find the right, a new coaching staff, and just by the luck, when Coach Holtz came out, the Coach Thompson staff left, it kind of, people don't know this. People, Coach Holtz and them get a lot of credit for recruiting us. People don't know that they didn't recruit us. You didn't see us on the roster because we were Prop 48s. That's why. You know what I mean? And they like, you wasn't there. No, we were here. You just didn't know about us. Right. If you knew sports, you knew we were here. You know what I mean? And it's just, not to take anything away from what Holtz and Hood and that staff taught us, but it took, Coach Thompson's staff took the time out to, come and see who I was and meet me every day. Coach Thompson came out to my school or whatnot and all that stuff. So, like I said, I'm not trying to take that from Coach Holt's staff, but they didn't recruit me. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from them. I had some bad habits from the old staff that what I was being taught that I had to change when they got there, you know what I mean? And they helped me for the better, as you can see. But, that transition is never easy, man. It's just we got lucky that time. And, just like from Coach, what's the coach that just got fired before Scotty was there?
Coach Ruff.
Coach Ruff. I'm Coach Ruff at NC State. Now I'm getting thrown off, man. But yeah, what? Before before, you know, with Ruff had a great group of kids, and it's like you bring in a new coach and all of them start leaving, you know, and we didn't have that when, you know, Thompson took over, you know, when Holtz took over for Thompson. We all stayed. We stayed
Right.
together, you know what I mean? And it's like, I see that with the new staff that we have now. A lot of people didn't leave. Yeah, some people got in trouble and got put off the team, but we're not going to go there. That's a different story, but stupidity. But, you know, this staff, I feel like they can keep everybody together if they all can stay out of trouble. You know what I mean? And just stay focused. You know what I mean? And that's what Holtz and Hood and them did a good job of keeping us focused.
We've already talked about Donnie Kirkpatrick. Obviously, he's on this staff. He had been with Coach Holtz and Coach Ruff, and
Right.
also a guy that's certainly no stranger to East Carolina. Offensive line coach Steve Shankweiler, who he's in his fifth head coach and fourth stint. So he worked, you know, for Art Baker and then Bill Lewis, Steve Logan, and then also Skip Holtz and now Mike Houston. So what are your memories? Obviously the opposite side of the ball, but any memories from Coach Shank in practice?
Oh my God, Coach Shank, man. You know, I told you I was on scout team, man. I used to get Shank crazy. Man, Shanks used to have fit all the time because I used to be blowing up they plays. Let us run the play. God, don't get like he wouldn't cut. You know, Shank ain't no big, you know what I mean? He ain't gonna use a lot of profanity, man. But he, you know, he got his way, you know, he got his little sub where he about like Coach Klein from you know Coach Klein,
Yeah.
Dickie Klein. You know how he is. He don't cuss, he throw. But you be all kind of saying all kind of crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Coach Shank used to get mad when I used to be out there on scout team because I used to give him hell, man. Like I said, man, that's when I knew, man, I was gonna, you know, the class that we had, man, and the things that we were doing, we were gonna be good. We were gonna be good, you know. And then, you know, oh, we got Pat Pinkney. People don't know that's Aaron's little brother. Aaron Curry. They went, you know, played for Seattle. They Reggie, you know, Mr. Pinkney, man. You know, I call him Mr. Pinkney. Me and Pat was roommates, you know, not roommates, but sweet mates. You know, you know what I mean? Like, we got some talent here, man. We can do this. You just got to believe, you know, and that's all it's about, man. Just believe it.
I know how much pride you guys had to take in everything that was built, because even after you moved on after that 2008 season, we went back to back in 2009 with guys that you would, you know, your brothers like Van Eskridge and Dominique Lindsay, etc.
Yeah, Chambliss, all the guys, Scotty Robinson, you know, all them guys, man. You know, it's like I say, it's a brotherhood, man. Like, it's unexplainable, man. Like, you just got to be a part of it to see.
So this last decade plus, Quentin, as we start to wrap things up, and just tell Pirate Nation what you've been up to. You talking about your daughter.
Well, man, I'm working. You know, I told you I got my daughter. I'm working at a pharmaceutical printing spot. What we do is we do the inserts and outserts for the medicine and stuff like that. And that's about it, man. Taking care of my daughter. Like I told you, I plan on getting into football and coaching. You know, I've been in contact with Hood, and we've been talking about some things. And, you know, he's kind of my mentor, man. He's just trying to show me the steps, man. I just got to, you know, some things up here that I need to get straight before I can, you know, I want to make sure my daughter's okay. You know, yeah, I can go coach and provide a better living for her. But, you know, coaches spend a lot of time on the road, man. They have a lot of support systems. And I always told myself if I had a kid or a family, man, I'm not going to jump right off the boat. Yeah, we need to make money for our family. Who doesn't? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just, you know, I want to be a part of my kid's life. I'm one of them dads, man. I love my little girl, man. Her name is Serenity, man. Serenity Cotton, man. And if you have if anybody has any time to sit down and look into autism, man, people with autism, you know, people say they're strange or they're not strange. It's just different, man. That's it. They're human beings like everybody else, man. And my daughter, I love her to death, man, and I'm going to give her the word. I'm going to show her the word, you know. So that's what's most important. That's what I got going on right now. And that's, you know, plan on getting married in the near future. So, you know, it's in the plans or whatnot. But, you know,
Congratulations.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I know that's something everybody has to have respect for that. You pushing aside your dreams of coaching and doing what's right by your daughter, and that's certainly I have have a son who's 8, and then my little girl just turned 6, and yeah, you definitely can't get that time back.
Right.
And so I know my first 3 years of coaching after I got married, that's what I was, commuting about an hour one way. So I was spending 2 hours in the car every single day, and even more time away because I was coaching football. So I don't regret that because I made friends, a lot of good experiences, but at the same time, I'll give anything to have been able to be coaching much closer to home.
Right.
But no, Quentin, we certainly appreciate you being so generous with your time this afternoon, and appreciate all you did for the Pirates, and certainly hope you stay plugged into the program in the future. And that's the great thing now, even when family things come up or just life circumstances, and you can't get to Greenville or wherever the Pirates are playing, you can always watch them on ESPN and about every game's on TV.
Right. But I try to get down. As much as I can. I keep in contact with a couple of my teachers. I don't know if you know Miss Child. She worked there for a while. She's not there anymore. She stays at the beach. She's still in Greenville, that area though. I still keep in contact with a couple people down there from time to time. I try to get back to some games and stuff. So, but you know how hard that is. I plan on bringing baby girl down this year. Well, next year, whenever this COVID thing gets going. So, let her come to the kids zone outside the stadium and have fun, man. She'll love it, man. Like, she's gonna love it, man. Stuff that I got to experience.
That was a nice addition that they had last year with the bounce house and some of those things. The kids, when she gets a little older, she can shoot some hoops over there with Daddy's first love.
Yep, you know how that go.
But no, we appreciate your time, and we'd certainly love to have you back on sometime down the road and catch up and hopefully be talking about your coaching in the years to come.
Right. No problem, man. I enjoy your show too, man. You keep doing your thing, man. Doing your thing, man. It's good to see Pirates doing big things, man. I'm a big fan of your show, man.
Definitely, and we appreciate your support and appreciate you tuning in. It's great to get the feedback from you guys because, quite honestly, I'm not throwing any shade, blame, anything like that toward any of the administration, but just we got tired of reaching out to former players and having them come on the show and saying, you're the first person that we haven't heard anything from anybody at East Carolina since we left. So we appreciate y'all's support and everything you did for Purple and Gold.
No problem, man.
And Pirate Nation, that is former East Carolina linebacker from 2005 to 2008, Quentin Cotton.
First pass, and it's intercepted on the deflection. Picked off by Quentin Cotton. 3 penalty flags fly in, and Virginia Tech turns it over on its first possession.